You know the saying, you can't get better if you don't first get started? Yes, that is very true, especially for speaking. And while you can't get started as a speaker and be absolutely perfect, you're gonna need time and practice for that to happen. You can avoid some common first-time speaker mistakes. So let's talk about 3 of the most common first-time speaker mistakes that hopefully you can avoid. Hi, I'm Jessica, and I help small business owners and CEO leaders use speaking to make a bigger impact in the world and grow their companies. And after speaking all over the country over the last 16 years, I've made a lot of mistakes. And that's honestly where some of my best lessons have come from. My goal is for you to learn from me and not make those mistakes yourself. Listen, you cannot become a better speaker if you don't first start speaking. You're going to be able to improve and improve and improve every time you grab the microphone. But there are a few things you can focus on as you're getting started to be a little bit more polished and make a bigger impact. Most mistakes happen either in the structure of your talk, your onstage delivery, or your speaking strategy itself. So today we're going to cover the top 3 mistakes in each of these categories. First, let's look at the structure of your presentation. There's a lot of room for error here. I'm going to be honest. I look at presentations every single week, whether I'm writing my own presentation, I'm writing one for a client, I'm reviewing one of our students. I see a lot of talks, and structure is a place where a lot of mistakes happen. The upside to this being a common mistake is this is something that happens behind the scenes. You have an opportunity to course correct this before your audience ever sees it. Structural mistakes in your talk can look like not having a clear journey, not taking your audience on a journey, meaning you're not sure where your audience is in their life or their business, so you don't know what next steps they need. You want to make sure that your presentation is taking them from a before to an after. You need a clear journey. Another very common, probably the most common mistake when it comes to structure is putting way too much information into our presentation. Very often we feel like we need to give them more and give them more and give them more, and that is somehow going to showcase our expertise. The reality is when we do that, we often leave our audience feeling overwhelmed, not better than we found them, often worse off. So if you are looking at your presentation and saying, do I need more information? You probably don't. Remember that what seems very simple or easy to you is probably wildly fascinating and mind-blowing to your audience. If we want to get a little bit more technical with structural mistakes, I would say it's really not having a good balance of ethos, pathos, and logos. Aristotle said these are the 3 key components that we need in order to persuade our audience as a speaker. And I'm not saying persuade as in trick or strong arm somebody and change their mind, but a lot of times as speakers, honestly, most of us are sharing a message that we need our audience to buy into, something that is going to benefit them, something they didn't know about before, something that feels outside of their comfort zone and is uncomfortable, or something that they just don't think is possible for themselves. In order to get them to buy into our mission, to contribute to our cause, to be a part of our movement, or to join our programs, products, and services, we need to make sure that they trust us. So that means we need to be credible, we need to have facts and data, and we also need to connect with them on an emotional level and include story. Easiest way to do this is to look at your presentation and really start to chart out data points, facts and figures, things that feel technical, and story and emotional connection point. Is there a good balance? Don't make the mistake of having too much data or too much story. Make sure you've got a good balance. If you've done all of this work behind the scenes to try to prevent some of these common mistakes, now let's look at actually delivering your presentation on the stage. I'm willing to bet that this is probably where you're the most nervous about making mistakes. Tell me in the comments, are you more afraid of making a mistake in the actual structure or the delivery? I'm more nervous about the delivery part. The biggest mistake that I see speakers make when it comes to delivery of their presentation is speaking very, very fast. When we're nervous or anxious or even excited, we can get really, really fast in the way that we talk. And we don't realize, especially if we're speaking in a large room with lots of audio equipment, that noise doesn't always travel as well. And it's hard for our audience to track with us. So take a deep breath and slow down when you're delivering your message on the stage. One mistake that I have noticed recently, to be super honest, it was something I didn't notice as much pre-2020 that I'm noticing more, and I have a theory around that, is staring at the slides. If my slides are back here, instead of looking at you as the audience, I would be looking back here at the slides. And I'm sure my audio went out a little bit when I did that, right? Because when you turn away from the microphone, your audio is going to go in and out. But more importantly, you're kind of creating a wall between you and your audience. You want to create a deep connection, not look away from them. My theory on this, I could be totally wrong, but I think that some of us have gotten really comfortable delivering virtual presentations and looking at the slides on the computer in front of us. And when we are on the stage, sometimes that becomes our security blanket of looking back at our slides. Make sure you know your presentation well enough that you don't have to look at your slides to see what's next. The third mistake I see on the stage a lot, not as much, but it's like very noticeable when it happens, is the speaker not being themselves. Your goal as a speaker should not be to be the biggest personality in the room, the funniest person in the room, the most emotional person in the room. None of that matters. Your goal should be to be you. That way, when the audience meets you and you're up on the stage for that very first time, they feel like they're having the exact same experience they will have with you in the hallway chatting, when they're reading your posts on social media, receiving your newsletters, working with you one-on-one. You don't want it to feel like two different people. So yes, a lot of mistakes can happen during your preparation and the structure of your talk. They happen on the stage in front of the audience, but they can also happen behind the scenes in your strategy, especially if you're a business owner. I would say the biggest strategy mistake that I see business owners making is speaking in the wrong rooms. So often we just want to say yes to every opportunity and just, have faith that it's going to make a difference and it's going to be great for our business. But often that results in us speaking in the wrong room. And when we say yes to an opportunity that's not a good fit for us, that means we are saying no to something else that maybe was. So you want to be selective in the rooms you do speak at so that you're serving your people and making a great impact. Another mistake we tend to make is assuming there is no speaker budget. We're often going to take on speaking opportunities that are unpaid or low paid, but that doesn't mean that you should just assume there's no budget. And while yes, some opportunities are going to be unpaid or low paid, others are going to have a very large price tag attached to it. And those large speaking contracts afford you the opportunity to say yes to people who otherwise could not afford you. So never assume what the budget is for the event, always ask. Another mistake that most speakers are making in their strategy, especially new speakers, is individualizing each speaking opportunity, not doubling down on them. The goal should be to always, as I say, turn one into three. So if you have an opportunity to speak on a stage, don't look at it as an individual opportunity. Yes, make your presentation amazing. Perfect that structure, deliver it beautifully, but also keep in mind, how are you going to use that opportunity to open doors to new opportunities? That, my friend, is what's going to make speaking work for you and your business. So if you've made these speaking mistakes in the past, don't worry, no judgment here. This is the perfect time to course correct. Let's take a look at the structure of your presentation, deliver it a little more intentionally, and have a strategy that's going to grow your business. You didn't put in all the blood, sweat, and tears to build this business that you're proud of just to make speaking another thing on your plate. So if you really want to double down on what works for your business and speaking, you're going to want to watch this video and learn exactly how to make speaking work to scale the business you've worked so hard to build.